Welcome to What's a Mom podcast. You are listening to Doulas Petra
and Jacqueline.
Motherhood can be isolating and hard.
We are two doulas who want to provide a safe place to talk about all things mom,
From pregnancy
to birth,
to postpartum.
to parenting.
Join us as we have real conversations about real life.
Hi guys, welcome back to our podcast. It's been, how old is the baby now?
6 weeks.
6 weeks old.
Yep.
Crazy.
So we took a little bit of break from the podcast, but now we're ready for another season.
Yay.
Season number 2 of the podcast.
Yay.
Yeah. And this will be episode number 40.
Is it 40?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't
Which is
think it
pretty
was
cool.
That is really crazy. Yay.
We've gone that many now.
40. That's huge for us.
It sure is. So, in case this is your first time listening to our podcast, I'm Petra.
And I'm Jacqueline.
And today we are going to be talking about Viktor's birth story, which is my 5th child. So if you're watching the video of the podcast, then you can see I'm holding the baby right now. And we're just going to talk a little bit about his birth story that just happened 6 weeks ago.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do you want to start, Petra? And
Sure.
just kind of share what happened, and then I can kind of share my experience. How it went.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
So it was a really cool experience because Jacqueline got to be there. So she has a little different perspective as well, which is really nice. It was wonderful.
Yeah, it was.
So this was my 5th baby, which means this pregnancy I was busy. I had 4 other kids I was taking care of. And I basically, I just prayed and I said, God, I need an easy pregnancy because I'll be taking care of all these kids. And when it comes time for the birth, I want a birth that's fast but not too fast. I want to be able to make it through this birth. I wanted another unmedicated home water birth again. And I wanted my husband to be able to be home because he works shift work out of town. And I wanted a boy because we have 1 boy and 3 girls, and we wanted another boy, obviously. I mean, you love whatever you have, but I knew my husband and my son would really, really like another little boy. And it was amazing because God answered every prayer that I had, every single one of them. My pregnancy, it wasn't perfect, but it was, I'd say, generally speaking, it was a pretty easy pregnancy. It was good. And I got to the end of the pregnancy, and of course, I'm feeling like every other pregnant woman at the end. I'm exhausted. I just want this baby to come. I don't want to go anywhere, do anything. I'm just staying around home. And to boot, it was also the hottest week that we had all summer. It was hot, man.
Thank God for your AC unit in your room.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
Would
I know.
have very well died.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
It was 40 degrees on your main floor. Yeah,
probably. So I think the high was 35 degrees the day that he was born. It was crazy. So what happened was, I guess I had 2 due dates, so to speak. So my guest date would have been the Monday. And the due date that was guessed by the ultrasound would have been 3 days later. He ended up coming two days later. So it's kind of right in between the 2 dates. So he was right on time, which was really nice. But I still felt like I was too pregnant, and it in that heat, it was just brutal. And so that one day, my husband said, well, maybe we should go visit your parents because they have air conditioning. We can cool down. And I said, I don't want to be far from home. I just don't. The last thing I want is to go into labor and be driving. The reason I want a home birth is to be able to stay home. So I said, you know what? If you want to go cool off, that's fine. I totally get it. I won't be mad. You take the older kids, you go to my parents, go cool off. If anything happens, I'll let you know. We didn't expect anything to happen. Well, we should have. He's gone not even an hour and a half, and I'm sweeping, and I have our youngest with me at home still, and she's napping. I'm sweeping, and all of a sudden, I felt like I was about to pee. I couldn't hold it. Like some of it dripped down. I ran to the toilet, and I was like, "Oh." Two of my other births. If you listen to one of our first episodes, we shared all of our other birth stories. Two of my other births, my waters broke before contractions. So I'm like, I'm familiar with that feeling of the slow trickle of the fluids leaking. Like, I think my waters broke, but I'm not going to get too excited because I already had a couple false alarms before this. So I get up and I go to keep sweeping. It happens again. I'm like, oh, my water totally just broke. So I text Jacqueline about it. I text my husband about it. My husband's like, oh, do I need to come home? And I said, no, wait for contractions. Like, I'm not feeling anything. It's fine. I'll let you know. So this was at 4:20 when my water broke. By 5 o'clock, my contractions started. So now I have my toddler awake who turned 2 the day before. And my contractions started and my husband's not at home. And I was like, oh, great. Okay, that happened really quickly. So I texted him and I said, okay, so like they're still not intense, but like I'm having them. So I'm updating Jacqueline and I'm updating my husband. My husband's like, okay, we're on our way. I'm like, no, you don't have to hurry. It's fine. I'm still early. But then they intensify really quickly. So 5:30, like I can still talk through them, but I can feel they're getting more. So I texted him. I said, okay, maybe you should pack up the kids and come because they are getting more intense. And I think this is actually going to happen sooner than I thought. He was already packing up the kids because he already expected this. I mean, it is our 5th child.
And your last one was like 4 hours starting.
It was pretty quick too, yeah. So then I was like, oh, okay. So I'm going to go get ready then. And we have like all these fans going because it's really hot too. So I go upstairs. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? I can't prepare anything between contractions with this toddler. So I try to put on the TV. I put on Bluey because, you know, most kids love Bluey. But it doesn't distract her for long enough. She's only 2. So I'm setting up my birth pool in my bedroom beside my bed. I'm trying to set up my bed so that it's ready so I can go between the 2. And I have my toddler wanting to sit on me. And I'm like, oh, this is like really hard. When is my husband going to get home? And I had also texted Jacqueline around the same time. So he gets home.
You texted me at 4:45 and you said that your water broke. And I was like,
yeah.
Okay. I knew it was going to be fast. So I was like, girl, she told me that her husband was not home yet. And I was like, okay, I can come anytime. Like,
yeah.
to help you.
So he got home probably just before 6 with the kids. And then he had to make them supper because he was originally planning on making supper at my parents' too, or having supper there. So he had to quickly come up with something to feed them. And then he took them out of the room because I couldn't handle my toddler touching my stomach during these contractions anymore. Because now they're getting more intense. Like 6 o'clock, I'm starting to breathe.
You were in active labor for sure.
Yeah, and I think you arrived just around 6 o'clock too, right?
6:40 freaking 1.
Oh, so you were a little after 6 then, yeah, 6:41. So I was like in active labor. So this pregnancy, I did my Christian hypnobirthing. So I'd been listening to this, preparing for it mentally, physically, and I was like, okay, I'm going to use this. So I turned it on my own in my bedroom. So Tom took all the kids out. I start using my Christian hypnobirthing while I'm laying on my bed to get through these contractions. Jacqueline arrives. Tom couldn't really help me because he's trying to watch the kids. We didn't have anyone else in the house. So Jacqueline arrives. So then I asked her to fill the birth pool. So she helped with filling the birth pool with water.
I hooked up the hose and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, I need to do this. So I'm giving Jacqueline a few instructions in between my contractions and then breathing through them when I have them. She filled it up for me, but then it's so hot. She's like, I don't know, like what temperature do we fill it at? I'm like, I feel like we need to do it a little bit cooler because it's so hot.
Because it was really hot and she was close to being ready to jump in the pool.
Yeah. Like I was like, I need to be in that water. I remember how much it helped me. And I had a portable AC unit attached to our window, and that helped a little bit to cool down the room, but it was still hot even with that because of how hot it was outside.
It was so scorching hot.
Yeah. So then, as soon as the water was in, I jumped into the birth pool, and I stayed in there the entire time. I didn't even get out this time. I'm pretty sure I just peed in the pool too, because I'm like, I remember the toilet contractions. I didn't want them. I'm like, I'm just gonna give birth in this pool. I'm staying here. Nothing's getting me out. And I had told Tom also to call the midwife. So he called the midwife, and I talked to her on the phone just before I got into the pool. I talked to her on the phone, and she heard me like go through a contraction and everything. She's like, okay, well,
Like,
I'm gonna pack up my stuff and I'm on my way. Well, it took her a long time to get there. Because
it took her a long time. She
wasn't
not there long before the baby was born.
Before the baby. And my parents were the same thing. My husband was at my parents' house, so they knew that I was having a baby. But for some reason, they thought it would take a while. I don't understand. Because they're taking their sweet time to come over to the house too. And so I keep saying, are my parents coming too? And Tom's like, I don't know. I told them to come.
They said they're having supper. Then they're coming.
I'm like, okay, whatever. I guess they'll be here when they get here. So then it was really cool because I was just in the water listening to my hypnobirthing tracks and breathing through it. And I had my 2 older daughters. They would every once in a while come into the room, and they'd come and they'd give me a kiss or a hug. And my 3-year-old, she was just so sweet. She'd be like, Mommy, I love you, Mommy. But what she didn't understand is I'm in the middle of a contraction. I can't answer her. But she was still really good about it. So then they'd kind of come in and go. My son, he didn't care much about being there. He just wanted to be there, and the baby was born. So he just stayed out, which was totally fine. I kind of let them know, prep them about birth beforehand so they can make a choice. And I felt okay having them come in and out of the room. I just couldn't have my belly being touched. That's all that mattered. But when I was in the birth pool, my belly was a little safer and it was fine. And then once I started to feel the contractions start to get more intense, I knew that the baby's head was getting down lower. So then I started to reach down, and between contractions, I could feel a little bit of the baby's head. So then that gave me more hope, like, okay, this is happening, and I'm doing this again. And so then I'm able to feel the progress in between my contractions. I was still talking between contractions. It was nice. And then it was like 8 o'clock, around 8 o'clock, my parents showed up and the midwife showed up.
It's insane. They all came around the same time.
Yeah. And I was already like in like transition, I'm pretty sure, or close to it.
You were.
And
they literally walked in and then sat down, and then you were
yeah. And then like the transition wasn't as bad this time.
Well, that's nice.
Because, well, I mean, it's my 5th baby, so I kind of know what to expect. Like, I know the self-talk of like, okay, this is normal. Like this feeling, like now I know this is normal. This means baby's almost here. So I was like telling myself that in my head, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't as bad in that sense. It was still very intense. Yeah, but it was cool because now like I'm a pro at this point. So I'm like, okay, like these contractions, like the baby's about to be here. Someone go let Tom know that if he wants to be here, the baby's coming. So then he comes in. I said, yeah, the kids can come in too. So he comes in with the kids. So now I have everybody in there. I have Jacqueline in the room. I have my husband in the room. I have all 4 of my kids in the room. I have both my parents in the room. I have the midwife in the room.
It was so like crowded, but everybody got in.
Yeah, and so then the midwife, she came over to me and quietly just said to me, like, "You okay with everyone in here?" I said, "Oh yeah, that's totally fine." And she's like, "Okay, if you want me to kick anyone out, just give me the nod and I'll do it." I'm like, "No, okay, sounds good, but I'm fine." And I mean, I'm the kind of person where it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Some people it does, and that's fine, but to me, it doesn't matter. So I was like, "Okay, sounds good." So then in the point now where my contractions change and my body now is doing the fetal ejection reflex, and it's pushing this baby out on its own. And this time I decided, like, my body, it can do it completely on its own, but I decided to push a little bit with the hypnobirthing breathing that you use. And so they teach you this, they call it J breathing, where you breathe out almost imagining your breath being a J, and it helps with gentle, shh, I'm doing a podcast. It helps with doing like gentle pushing.
Yeah.
And so I did some gentle pushing like that, the breathing, to help every time I had that natural push in my body. And I don't know how long my pushing was. I think I was told like 15 or 16 minutes.
It was so fast. Yeah.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
so,
10. Seriously, it
yeah.
was so fast. Yeah.
So it was the same thing as last time. I started on my back doing that, and then I'm like, nope, I need to turn over. So then I went onto my hands and knees and I just leaned over the birth pool. Somebody put a towel under my chin. I don't even know who it was or why. I was breathing. and, and then I was just breathing through it. Everyone's waiting, excited for this baby. Then the head comes out, or the face comes out, and I can feel like the face. Shh, I'm doing the podcast. Remember, honey. And then I just remember I did have that ring of fire again. I don't know how some women don't feel that, because I definitely do.
I don't know how.
So then that was probably my noisiest time in the entire labor, was right at that crowning point, which even that wasn't that loud. So now at this point, Jacqueline was also videoing it for me. And my mom was taking a few pictures, and I felt that really intense crowning feeling where, like, I feel like I'm going to be ripped open. But I'm like, nope, Petra, you got to breathe through this. I can do this. And so then I just started kind of praying in my head and breathing through it. And it doesn't last very long. It's quick. So then all of a sudden it's over, and I'm waiting for my body to do like basically one last contraction to push the rest of this baby out. And I guess
did a high kick.
the midwife kind of asked me, she's like, hey, do you want some help with the baby or whatever? I'm in the middle of a contraction, so I'm not answering her. Whatever. And then my body did another contraction, and I grabbed the baby out and I kicked my leg over really fast. So I'm on my back and I pull the baby up, and he was here.
She was so impressed by your high kick. She's like, what the heck is this karate move? Like, she's laughing so hard.
Yeah, she did say that was really funny. She's like, yeah,
so funny.
You didn't really need me here at all.
No, you could deliver your own baby, which is so crazy.
She's there mostly for emergencies, which
basically,
I mean, it's still important.
Yes, absolutely. But praise the Lord, there was no emergency and everything went so well. When you delivered your placenta, it was perfect and fast and like limited bleeding. Like it was.
Yeah, it was beautiful. So yeah, I think I waited like a few minutes just sitting there holding the baby in the birth pool, and everyone was kind of cheering.
Probably came 20 minutes later, maybe.
Not
you were
even
in there for a while. You didn't think so?
No, it came pretty fast, because the half-hour mark is when they start to get worried.
Okay.
And it was plenty before that. Yeah. I don't know how long exactly though. Yeah. But then the kids all came over. So Tom came over and he kind of touched the baby and said hi. And then the kids all came over and they touched the baby, which was really sweet. It was really cute. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I just felt like I wanted to get out of the pool for birthing the placenta. I remember how dirty I felt with all the blood that's involved with that process.
Tom didn't like that either. It looked like
my husband didn't like it either. So then I was like, yeah.
Almost went down.
I said, so I'm just going to get out and just go to the bed to deliver the placenta. And the midwife was like, really? Are you sure? I'm like, yeah. So I get up holding the baby still attached, right? I get up to go like transfer over to the bed. Yeah, she's like, do you need some help? I think I got it. I pretty much got out on my own. And then my bed's like right beside the birth pool. So I get out and I lay down on the bed. And then he latched like right away and he breastfed.
Yeah.
which was really good. And then
You
um,
birthed your placenta.
I birthed the placenta. Yeah, there's no complications with it, which was really nice because again, if you listen to my past birth stories, I had bleeding in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Andor and Tom,
yes.
they did it,
So,
right?
yeah. So our son, he's 8 years old. I had asked him about cutting the cord, if he wanted to cut his brother's cord, and he did. So he came and he cut the umbilical cord for his little brother with my husband Tom, with Dad's help.
Yeah. It was so
Which
sweet.
is really cool. We got a few pictures of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we got to just rest a little bit. And then my husband made me food, and he even made me a steak meal. And
He
I had
did.
yogurt and crackers and dates and nuts. Like, I had a whole bunch of stuff. He's like, yeah, you blood, you need protein. I'm going to give it to you. Yeah, it was so funny. Jacqueline's sitting beside me, and he comes over. He's like, would you like me to make you a steak or something? And I'm like, really? Would you?
It's like coming right up.
So that was really cool. I really enjoyed that.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And I was able to get up and go have a shower shortly after too, which was really a big deal for me, because the last baby, although like things went really well, I couldn't get up and shower because I was too lightheaded.
Uh-huh.
This time, like, I felt fine. Like, I was a little bit sore and slightly lightheaded, but not that bad.
Yeah.
So it was really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
all went so well.
So from water breaking at 4:20 p.m., he was birthed
8:31.
at 8:31 p.m. Yeah, it was nice. And then as soon as after he was born, Tom put all the kids to bed. It was the perfect timing.
And that was something she prayed, that she could have her
Yeah.
baby early enough, then go to sleep for the night.
Yeah. Because like having those nighttime births, it's exhausting. You're already tired giving birth, and then you add the being awake for that many hours on top of it. It's hard.
It's
I've done
very
it.
hard. I've done it twice. It's not fun.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
fun. It's just
Yeah.
so crazy how everything worked out the way we wanted it to. Like, even with me being there, like with Keith working, and
Yeah.
not a lot of childcare, and like,
Yeah.
I even prayed. I even said, I was like, God, it'd be perfect if she had her baby on Wednesday night.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was so funny because my friend Jenny was coming to visit me on Friday, and I was like, dogs, I don't want to be super tired on Thursday. I'm doing a podcast. Do not talk to me. I didn't want to be tired on Thursday and then go and spend the day with my friend on Friday. And like, so I prayed, I was like, it'd be perfect. And so it was so funny. I went to the spray park with the kids that day. Dogs, enough. Bed. And then I came home. I felt to have a nap. I don't know why. I just had a feeling. And so I had a nap from 4 till 4:45. I woke up to your text. And
Yeah.
then I was like, oh my goodness, it's go time. And everybody's like, well, you have to leave right away. I was like, oh yeah, I got to leave really soon, because like her birth last time was like 4 hours from start to finish. Like,
Yeah.
I will not make it. I also had Bible study that night. So I was thinking to myself, like, do I even go? Do I even attempt to go? And no, I don't get back from Bible study till like 9 o'clock. And so I would have had to rush home and drop off Lorelai, and I may have missed it. So it's
Yeah.
just so funny how like every little detail of it worked out the way that we hoped it would. And I got to still be there. And
Yeah.
she doesn't need anyone. She could literally birth her own baby. Like, she's a beast, man. Like, honestly, like I love that I could be there and I could help out and I could fill the pool up, attach the hose, fill the pool for her,
Oh,
get
I
it
lost you.
ready. Oh, did you lose me?
Oh, okay. Last thing I heard was honestly.
Weird. It doesn't say that anything's cutting out here. I was just so thankful that I could be there and I could help you, hook up the hose and fill up the
Yeah.
pool so you could get in, because I knew Tom was busy with the kids. And yeah, like everything just went so smooth. And I fed you your gave you your water a few
Yeah.
times, gave you a cold cloth when you needed it, or had the bucket by your face if you felt like you were going to vomit. But
Oh yeah, I did say that, but I didn't vomit.
at
Yeah.
the end of the day, you didn't need it, right? And again, like you just it's crazy how like well you did with birth. And like it wasn't even, I mean, as much as I say it didn't look hard, I'm sure it was very hard because I've done it 3 times and I
Yeah.
know that it's not easy, but you have a good poker face because nobody knew. So good for you. And it was just a fun experience to be able to be there as your best friend and like be able
Yeah.
to bring another one of your beautiful babies into the world. And yeah, but you
Yeah.
don't need anyone. You're just like this beast when it comes to labor, and like you just know what you're doing. And yeah, it was just really cool to be there. And yeah.
But you know what's interesting is that everybody who gives birth, like everyone is so different. Because
Everybody.
although it seems like I don't need anybody there, like I don't physically need anyone there, I still think it would be really, really difficult to be completely by myself because
Yeah.
just having someone in the room, knowing that they're there,
Yeah.
means a lot to me.
And I got
Just
to do that for you twice.
yeah,
I just,
yeah,
I love that. And
which
then I got
I'm
to
so
hang out.
grateful for. Yeah,
Oh, I appreciate it. And like, I loved being there. It's such an honor. And like, I did end up staying till like midnight or
yeah,
whatever. And I sat beside you and held the baby while you ate and had a shower. And it was just really good.
yeah,
It was awesome.
yeah.
So awesome. Everything went so well. And your postpartum, we got to do an episode on that because it's been
Oh yeah,
incredible. It's
yeah.
been
That's true.
incredible.
It's crazy because yesterday, the day before we're recording this, was my 6 weeks, and I'm
I
like,
know.
I don't know, like this time just kind of flew by, and it's crazy that he's already 6 weeks old.
It's crazy. I feel like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's gone by so fast. And it might not feel like that always because babies are a lot and they wake up a lot. But he's been thriving, you know? You
Oh,
haven't
he's been
really
doing
had
really well.
you haven't had any issues, and the kids have been such great helps, and they just love their little brother. And
They do, yeah. It was
so
funny
sweet.
because I'm meeting with my midwife for my postpartum appointment, and she's like, so I don't know, like, do you have any questions? Anything you're thinking of? I'm like, no, not really. So
Yeah.
really, most of our visit is just us chatting, like we're friends,
Yeah.
instead of really doing much about postpartum because I mean, we were just both doing so well. I didn't have any concerns. So
Yeah.
it's a good problem, right? It's not a
It's
bad thing, but it's
it's
just really
amazing.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't happen like that for everyone. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say it
So
went very well.
it definitely did. I was going to say if you or anyone you know is pregnant and expecting a baby, I definitely recommend going back and finding our episode on hypnobirthing because we did a whole episode talking about hypnobirthing, and that's what I used
Yeah.
for my fourth and fifth birth. And I can tell you now that I've done it more than once, it is a game changer and it works so well.
Your
So
last
well.
birth, you didn't even make noise. Do you
Yeah.
remember? Like you didn't even make any noise. And I was like, what
Not
the
really.
heck? Until the baby started coming out.
Yeah.
When you pushed the baby out, that's when you like made a yell. That's it.
Yeah. True.
Like
It's because it
it's
helps
mind blowing.
it it honestly just helps you to relax and breathe,
Yes.
slow, relaxed breaths.
Slow, relaxed breaths, not breaths.
From
I
a
don't
past
remember which
episode as
one that
well.
was. What episode was that? I have to watch it
I
back
don't even
again.
remember. We had an episode in the past where I was trying to explain slow, relaxed breaths. but I said breasts instead of breaths. And we're both killing ourselves laughing.
And were you pregnant at the time?
I think I was newly pregnant.
I think you were newly pregnant. I think we were just like close to announcing it on our podcast. It's so funny.
Oh, that was really funny. Yeah. But honestly, that's what hypnobirthing can help with. Like
For real.
It does so much. And if you are choosing an unmedicated birth at home, highly, highly recommend the water birth. It also relieves a lot of pressure off the abdomen. The heat helps with pain relief. Like it's a huge help. We both have done water births, and we both would say they were way better than land
can
births.
attest to that because my last was in the hospital, and it was what you call on land, and it was awful. Like,
yeah,
I felt everything way more than I did pushing out my other two in the pool.
Oh, it's
and
true.
Thank God I didn't tear. Let's just say that. But
yeah.
For real, like, it is a game changer. H2O birth is the way to go.
Yes.
For real.
We definitely recommend it.
Yes,
and
we do.
I used you did the same pool, but I used the Passages birth pool.
Yeah.
Because it's nice. It's a smaller size birth pool, so it doesn't use as much water. It's quicker to fill up, and it's the perfect size for you to be in.
Yeah.
If it's just you giving birth. If you want to have a partner in there, it depends on both of your sizes if you're going to fit or not. But
that's true.
Like for us, my husband had no intention of getting into the water. So
mine wouldn't either.
Yeah, he's not a fan of it. So all I needed was a pool big enough for me, and it fit perfectly in my bedroom right beside my bed. So I have my bed, I have my birth pool, and I have my ensuite washroom for the toilet. Like it was the perfect combination for me. Yes. Some people prefer the bigger pools though, because then you can get the handles, you can get ones with seats inside. What I did this time was I actually had a blanket that I put on the bottom of the birth pool for extra cushion. And then I put a liner on top of that so that the blanket didn't get wet.
Yeah.
It made a huge difference because last time I didn't have anything underneath me, and it was a little bit hard on my butt by the end. This time it was fine.
Really?
Like
That's awesome.
Yeah, I loved having that blanket there. So I would definitely recommend that for people
look
as well.
He's awake.
Phoebe's awake.
Hi, buddy. Oh my goodness. So sweet. Hi. Yeah, I'd say everything went really well.
It did,
It was so awesome.
Yeah, it definitely was. So I think here going forward, we're going to try to do more regular podcasts again now that we took our break. It's like 2-month break, maybe.
You needed it. It's a lot.
It is, yeah.
You also have 4 other kids, right? So it's a lot.
Yeah. And I'm homeschooling now. We started.
And now she's even more crazy.
Yeah. And my husband has been working in town, which has been nice. So he's been home a little more, but he's going to be going away again. And so when he goes,
also crazy.
Yeah. My life is just chaos. So that's fine. It's beautiful chaos, right?
Amen, sister. Amen.
Yeah. So that is Victor's birth story. It was pretty short and it was beautiful and it was perfect.
Yeah.
And I mean, not every birth gets to go the way you plan. So I'm very, very grateful for this, that it did happen that way for me, because not all of my births were that way either. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We're thankful that it went the way that you wanted and everyone was happy and healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
So, until next time, what the